Do you guys think that the Trinity is like one of the worst things about Christianity? I don't agree with that, but do you think like it is logically, it puts Christianity in a bad position logically, or
it's so dumb. Like it's not like it's just so dumb. It's just so stupid. It's not like like it's not something that you could get like dangerous ideas out of. It's just something that you could look at and be like, what's up with you guys, like right? But I think the worst thing coming out of Christianity is the popularization of hell. As you know,
I don't mean morally. I mean, I don't mean as in terms of
intellectually.
Yeah, I mean intellectually, logically.
Yes, it's the Trinity. I
You think so?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of dumb stuff from Christianity.
I know that's really hard.
I mean, yeah, I mean, Jesus cursed the tree for not having the fruit that he wanted.
But most people, Armin, are not even familiar with that. Most Christians are not familiar with that at all.
I actually think that the Trinity is not such an illogical, such a hard to understand and bad concept. I think it's quite, it's not that bad. I think there are things about Christianity that are much
What's the worst? What's the worst?
Much more. I don't know. I can't think of an example. I was just trying to think of something as you were going along. I usually don't think this way. I don't think of specific lists, but I would think, for example, Jesus suddenly descending 2,000 years ago as the Son of God and suddenly, dying for God, dying for the sins of humanity is probably logically the worst thing about Christianity, I would say.
Yeah. It's like, all your sins are forgiven because I was tortured. Like, how does that follow? Like, it just does. It just does.
Yeah. But I would think that if God makes it his nature, or if it is his nature that he's three persons in one person, I don't think that's that hard to grasp, considering that you also believe that God can communicate with 8 billion people at the same time. So
so if not AP, he's not 3 persons in one person. They're distinct.
No, I mean he's I know he's 3 persons in one. What is that called? One nature. So it is one God in 3 persons. That's how it is. They are all God. It is one God coexisting within 3 persons. That's how it is. I don't think it is logically that bad, but yeah, whatever. Just a quick question.
Okay, so if you are dealing with magic, then nothing looks that bad, right?
Yeah.
But if you're allowing magic, then you say like, okay, Armin, we believe like Harry Potter cast a spell. Does that look ridiculous to you, or like, are we talking fantasy? And like, yeah, or like, no, that sounds like a good plot in the story. Like, I appreciate that. But if you're like, no, we're saying this literally happened, then I'm like, oh yeah, that's extremely ridiculous, right? So if you're talking about a fictional story where you're allowing magic to happen, then yeah, the Trinity could, among other religious beliefs, doesn't sound as ridiculous, as some other parts of, like, I would say, like in Jesus' story, him cursing a tree for not having a fruit, that's ridiculous. That doesn't seem like fitting within a story that is like interesting. Mm-hmm. The Trinity I could forgive, right? But if we're dealing with what's acceptable in the material world, then the whole Trinity is extremely ridiculous.
What I found always weird when I was a Muslim too, this is by no means a reason why I stopped believing in God or anything like that, but it's just very strange. When I was a Muslim and even afterwards, I always found it weird to think about the fact that it is the claim that there is one God, and he's constantly watching every single one of us, every single moment of every single one of us, and responding to every single one of us, dealing with every single one of us, responding to all of our prayers. I thought, okay, I get it. It's God. He's omnipotent, omnipresent, whatever it is. His nature. It is in his nature to do all of that. But it just didn't make sense to me that this would be something that would be considered logical, even in a magical world, that there is actually this God that communicates with everybody, every single one of us at the same time. He can be as magical as he wants. That's not something that I could really logically understand, but I don't know. It's weird.
No, it's in the world of fiction. It's also a lazy.
Yeah.
You know, if you add like his power that has unlimited power, and there's nothing he can do, it's just like, I mean, that's such an uninteresting character. Like, you know, like you have to, I don't know. Even when it comes to fiction, I think the God of Islam and Christianity became boring compared to the other gods, because they had like, I don't know, they had their own desires and goals that was different from other gods that
They
had
have a
their
story.
own.
Yeah.
They have a story. All of a sudden, you have a God that's just like, what are you? Everything. What can you do? Everything.
You know what doesn't make any sense? Eternity. Eternity doesn't make any sense at all.
Right.
It is ridiculous. I mean, you think about it. God, there was only God and nothing else. And then God decided to create humans. And you are supposed to accept that, our story started some 1,000 years ago, whatever it is supposed to be. But before that, apparently only God existed. And how long did God exist? For eternity. Okay, but that kind of implies that God existed forever in eternity without us humans being around. So at some point he decided to create us humans, but he did exist before he created us, without any purpose, without any reason, without any attention, forever in eternity. And it doesn't logically make sense. So religious people who do religious apologetics try to say, well, God is outside of time and space and there was no time for him, but that doesn't make sense. Just the fact that God did decide to create us and he did create us implies that time did exist. God deciding something and doing something implies time. Could it be that God existed eternally, without beginning and without end, forever, without ever having any meaning, any attention at all? And we gave him meaning. We gave meaning to this nothingness that is called God. It's very strange, isn't it?
No, you don't understand. All of these, it's eternity for you. It's for God. All of this was less than a fraction of a second.
Okay,
like
but
he didn't have to wait.
What was God doing before he created humans? Yeah.
Like, you think like he was just waiting and doing nothing, but he existed at all times simultaneously. Like he didn't have to wait, because he was living in now, in the past, and in the future at the same time. He was experiencing all of these seconds, all of these moments at the same time. There was no waiting for God to involve.
That doesn't make sense.
I know it doesn't make any sense, but I know I listen to them too much. I know